What's good? This is the FGM podcast, First Generation Millionaire, sponsored exclusively by Indy at this point, and the Q brand.
Hello.
We got the team with me here. Got Willie B, Tyler, Jada, and myself, Stacy. How y'all feeling today, man?
Pretty awesome. It's a pretty rainy day, but I'm happy. I'm alive.
Fact. This is a fact.
I'm doing okay.
That's good to hear
That's
too.
honest.
I'm happy you can share it with me. You know, hope it gets better.
Yeah, same here. I'm pretty solid.
I feel that.
It is gray as shit outside for April, but it is what it is. We
At
gotta
least
deal
it ain't
with
no
it.
snow.
It's Cleveland. We get all seasons in one day.
Right. We had
fact.
snow last week.
Ohio.
We
Really
did.
did.
Then we had 70-degree weather the week before that. So, yeah, I feel it, man. But happy everybody doing good. We also got the homie David on the side. He ain't got no mic though. But
My little brother.
But yeah, we about to get into talking about finances today, and specifically we're talking about real estate and how to use that to your advantage going forward after all this stuff is all over with. So in the moment, we're not gonna call him an expert generally, but he is the one with the most knowledge on the topic within the room at the moment. So we're gonna put the spotlight on Tyler to go ahead and let himself just share some details about what he's been doing and how he sees the market itself. So on to you, Tyler.
All right, well, so as far as right now, my involvement in real estate is looking for a 2-family home, a duplex home. But before I go into why I chose that, I guess we should start off with talking about why I believe real estate is important for people to be interested in, look into, and, get into. I feel like people don't invest in real estate enough because they don't think they can or have enough money or capital or knowledge or things like that, when it's actually a simple thing that people can do to start building wealth and going towards financial freedom and learning about that. So it's all one thing. But the reason why I got into it was exactly what I just said, just the itch and that yearning for financial freedom.
Yeah.
And being able to maybe tap more into my creative side with more comfort of being wealthy and being set. That's just one thing that I can't tap into other things that I'm into because I'm not financially where I want to be. So it's like I decided to go a route where I'm generating wealth regardless of what I'm doing. So I'm just chilling, doing whatever I want to do. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It's not a headache doing it. I'm cool. So that's kind of like my perspective on it. And oh man, so many angles we can attack this.
No, I feel
Yeah, I
that.
feel like the reason why I even wanted to talk about it was because like right now coronavirus is like a thing and the whole economy has shut down. So like the economy is not going to be the same type of economy that it was prior to coronavirus. So the whole point of having a conversation about real estate or entrepreneurship in general or being a first generation millionaire in general, period, is to expand the different ways that you go about making money and expanding your consciousness to open up different ways to think about making money. So it shouldn't be the same thought process as, however many Americans it is on the planet, that the job system is going to be as structured as it was prior to this situation happening. So certain things will have to be tweaked. Certain things are definitely already being tweaked behind the scenes so that when the society does open back up, things will have to get into motion. People will have to adapt. So without having to struggle all the way without having full control, I feel like something that would counteract that struggle is to actively look at different ways to expand the way that you make money. And if you are like already in the midst of like learning about entrepreneurship or in that route, real estate is like number one to put on your list as a way to just build generational wealth. Like it's so many different aspects of real estate, but the main reason why I did want to bring Tyler to talk about it today is to talk about wholesale real estate and like the different ways that we have been talking about tackling it within the community of Cleveland is basically focusing on the community in which where we live, which is the Cleveland Buckeye Shaker area, and basically focusing on revitalizing that community within like basic tactics of wholesale real estate, which is not necessarily you having to have the anxiety of thinking like, oh my God, I have to have a real estate license, or like, oh my God, I have to learn so much about real estate and I don't want to, or
It's the fear.
I have a job.
It's the
I don't
fear
think
with
I
the
want to tap
unknown.
into real estate.
Yeah.
But when you open up your mind and be like, oh, okay, they're talking about wholesale real estate, you learn certain things like, oh, I don't have to have this or I don't have to have that. So that's why I kind of wanted to have Tyler be like a guide, not necessarily like a full blown like source, but definitely like a guide to talk about his experience on the knowledge of it.
That's the one thing I've been talking to a lot of people about today about a lot of different topics was about how fear stifles action. You know what I mean? And when
Right.
you're scared of something, you're scared of the unknown, and you're scared of what could happen, the easiest thing to do is to not do nothing because what you do could cause catastrophic failure. But not being afraid to take that risk, not being afraid to learn, you know what I mean? Because the only real thing to combat fear is education and understanding what you're
Definitely.
dealing with. You know what I mean? That's the only way you're not scared of the dark anymore is by knowing what's in the dark. So taking a chance to take, you know, if you listen to the podcast, shout out to you, took step number 1 to try and combat that fear, to educate yourself, to try and move forward in this realm of unknown, untapped potential. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
Because to your point and to Tyler's point, you know, you can sit back and watch this money grow because of that's why it's so valuable. That's why, you know, I call it forever money because that money moves forever regardless
For
of what
sure.
you do in that moment. You know what I mean? But in this case, we can focus specifically on wholesale real estate if you don't mind, and maybe give your views on how you decided to move forward and try to educate yourself and maybe accesses like resources you try to access to try and learn and teach yourself how to do about this stuff and how you got the ball rolling for you. So
Okay, so it's actually a combination of things y'all just touched on with getting over fear and getting the ball rolling. So I started looking for mentors and people who already do it and asking them how they did it and kind of paying close attention to them to their life circumstances and relaying it to mine. Like, okay, you did it that way, but you had that much money. So I gotta take some of the things you did and kind of I gotta tweak it and I gotta do it my way. So, and you know, going on YouTube and researching things like that, it all helps. And I went to what they call RIA meetings, real estate investing groups.
okay,
Yeah, and they have these meetings every month at hotels, at the ballrooms, and it's just a bunch of investors, brokers, agents. They all come in there and they talk about where the market is, where they're buying, what they had to sell, all kind of stuff.
Like
It's all kind of
strategies and
and then
stuff.
you just go in there. And I stood up. I told them I was new. I'm like, I'm Tyler. I'm coming in as a wholesaler, and also wholesaling is where you basically getting a property under contract for a certain amount of money, and then you sell the contract for the equity in the deal.
okay,
So it's like a commission. So it's like if you put a home under contract for $5,000 and it could be worth 10, and you sell it and you sell that contract to someone else who's going to actually do something with the home, you can get the $5,000
Yep,
commission
get
in
the full
between.
10, and then you make
And then they get their property, you get your money,
Yep.
and the seller, everyone's happy. Yeah.
So we
it's
talking wholesale flips?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
And
bet.
it's noted that you don't need credit or what?
okay.
Now,
You may need some kind of capital. Some people say you don't need any money, but you have closing costs
Okay.
and things like that. So I
Okay,
hate when
wait,
people
wait,
say
wait,
you
wait.
don't
gotta-
need.
what's the closing cost?
So when you were finalizing the deal, you have closing costs because of the what is it, the agency,
Like agency fee, like the cost to get this stuff handled, like get it filed and everything.
I'm trying to. It's
a term for it, though.
Yeah,
The title company?
the title company exactly. So you got the title. You gotta break bread with the title company.
Okay.
And also it may be even back taxes on the property and things of that sort. So
Is there any way in this case that you can use? Let's say you did do a 5K situation where you got the contract for 5K, it's worth 10. You sold it for 10, and you use part of that 5K of profit to cover those closing costs where you don't actually have to come out of anything out of pocket, or do you have to? Is there like a hold time or anything like that when you do this?
it is plenty of ways around it.
Okay.
You can, if the deal has enough equity in it, you can get the person that you're closing the deal with to pay for
Okay.
all of the closing costs and
That's
things
fair.
like that.
So it's circumstantial, really, what you did.
Yeah, it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It depends on
That
how
makes
much
sense.
knowledge you get and how you just learn how to structure your deals and things
Okay.
like that.
Now, Jada brought up earlier, like, kind of basically, like, diversifying yourself, especially when it comes to, like, this coronavirus
Yeah.
era and whatnot. Now, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of made you want to get closer to the, for lack of a better phrase, short-term investment side of real estate as opposed to maybe like a long-term side? Or do you plan on doing both where like you're doing flipping, but you also have maybe a duplex or a multifamily where like that's kind of like a monthly return that you're getting there while you're doing something else?
Right. Like you said, it's circumstantial. So at the time where I was more focused on wholesale real estate, I was a little bit more broke.
Okay. So you needed money quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. Circumstantial, like
It
you
was-
said.
So and now I'm getting more
You must-
money.
you cool.
I can go straight to get me a duplex right
Okay.
now.
Okay. I see
what
But
you're
I don't
saying.
want to not focus on
It's still money.
wholesale because it's still a way to make money out of nothing.
I
Because
definitely
you want to
hear
break.
you.
You wanna
But
break
yeah,
all
I'm
those
playing
parts
the
of it.
long game though, and wholesale real estate was brought to me by like the universe. Like I was with Jada, with someone who was successful doing it. She was sitting there talking about it. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "She does this," and it just clicked. I'm like, "I'm
Yeah.
trying to do that," and I just dove deeper into it from there. But as you learn different ways to get into real estate, it's like a tree
Yeah.
with branches, and
Definitely.
there's so many different ways you can get into it. And as you learn about it, and you figure out how you can tweak your life and how you can just finesse your life, your situation into it, I mean, you can enter the game so many ways.
Yeah.
Now, how would you go about finding properties that were undervalued that you may be able to squeeze that
That's
you
a
may be
great
able to
Great
squeeze
question,
kinda like
Will.
that
It's a
wedge
great
deal out of
question.
that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you're able to like look at this property and say, hey, this property is 100,000.
Yeah.
But I know I can get 150 out of it. Therefore, whatever I can get this for is undervalued right now. How do you go about looking for certain things? What are things that you look for to kind of be able to say, hey, people are not seeing the investment
Yeah.
that
In this
is
area,
in this
right.
area right here, right now, and I can capitalize on it. So how do you go about, what are factors that you
What
look
sort
for
of
when you're looking
resources
for
do
that?
you use? Yeah.
So you want to have a criteria already.
Okay. Bet.
So you want to say, I'm looking in this area because the school system is good. People will live here for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, people want to buy here because of the
Security,
plazas,
yeah.
the security, just the niceness of it. But also even like diamonds in the rough, like where the house will look crazy.
Right.
But the roof, you'll look at the roof, but you'll say you don't have to repair the roof. That's $10,000 I don't have to spend. Plumbing is good. Electric is good. All you got to do is cabinets, maybe bathroom,
Paint,
floors. Is really, and
Yeah,
you
simple stuff.
if it's simple stuff,
You think about overall.
yeah,
You know. Okay.
it
So
can add value into a property quickly.
So a lot of this
quicker,
stuff-
more quickly than you think it can.
Right. I agree 100%. Because if you just replace the siding, that changes the entire situation, or windows or something. So in this case, I see that real estate overall, it seems to have a lot of gray areas, and it's super circumstantial. You got to know what
Yeah.
you're doing to be able to navigate it appropriately.
And the way I learned what to look for also because Jada introduced me to Byron.
Oh, yeah.
He's a broker, right?
Right. Well,
He-
he's a property manager. So Byron Thompson, he's the CEO of Monument Real Estate, and he actually was like an old guidance counselor at my high school.
That's dope.
And how did we end? Oh, he ended up basically asking me one day to just like shadow him, like basically ride around with him while he looked at different houses. And I found out that he was basically a centerpiece to another person who was an actual investor at the houses that we were looking at, and he wanted me to basically capture him talking to this guy via, I think, FaceTime or whatever. But he was showing this guy the house. This guy was in Atlanta though. but we was in Cleveland.
Right.
And he was the investor of this house. So he owned this house that we was in, but he was in Atlanta. So I was just kind of tripped out because I'm just like, how is this working? Like, how does this system work?
Yeah.
And then he was basically saying, like, what he does, him as Byron, is he has, a slew of different homes that he owns, the homeboy invests in, that, they get different people to come into the home. Or, like, for instance, what we were doing, we were going into different people's homes to see if they still wanted to live there or if they wanted to sell it.
Okay.
So if they said yes, he was talking to that guy, and that guy was saying, okay, well, based off what you see, what's the bathroom look like? How many bedrooms?
So this is the stuff that Ty was talking about.
Exactly.
Like, okay,
What's
how
the
can
basement
we,
like?
How
Yeah,
can we
so-
improve
there
the
a-
value for this
Exactly.
and sell it
Exactly.
back and make profit?
Exactly, because probably, like, for instance, if this is like an old lady or in an old neighborhood or something, we
Ain't no
rode
damage.
up. Ain't nobody been over here.
Nope.
She probably been over here for
But
about
you
30, 40 years.
You might have to update the bathroom. That's
Exactly.
like 10, 15K.
And she
but
probably
that's
has
all you
not
doing.
been
Yup.
actively looking to
Facts.
sell her home because she doesn't know how, because she's
Mm-hmm.
an elderly woman, because maybe there's no people of our generation in her
Yeah.
home with social media
And
to
stuff
put
like
it on the
that
market.
sounds like prime real estate. I mean, that's a funny term, but like, yeah, that's not like prime real estate
It
because of
is.
the fact that those older people, I mean, chances are they've lived there for 40, 50 years. They had their kids there. The kids are out. They got too much space for them anyway. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you're going in there trying to look for something to do, that's short investments, small investments, the bathroom and the kitchen, the flooring or something like that, and you bump the value up by 40, 50K or something like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And gentrification is really high right now, which
Yes.
is another reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because it's
Buckeye
almost like
Shaker area, man.
it's so many bad, negative, I guess, opinions about gentrification. But if you are
If you're a part of it,
if you're in the game of real estate, you understand the benefits
that's the thing.
of how
like,
you can help your community.
Yeah.
I think it also
Yeah.
goes to show. I think gentrification is good when you're not displacing the people of that community.
Exactly.
When you go to a community and you find undervalued things and you're adding to it, and then therefore making the community as a whole more valuable without displacing those people, that's a
Exactly.
whole different game of
Exactly.
gentrification. And I kind of wish black communities as a whole would pull together, or if we could, I really think we can, and be able to gentrify our own neighborhoods and bring value up in our own neighborhoods, because
Yeah.
we see it. But you want to know what? When you drive through a neighborhood and you see gun store, liquor store,
Yep.
chicken spot, rib spot, and that's all that it is. There is no nice smaller grocery.
Right.
There is no spot that you be able to that have like a small mid-size upscale bar. There's
doesn't-
no
doesn't
art
attract-
gallery
Food
there.
co-op.
There's nothing to attract
Food
more
co-op.
money. There's nothing
Right.
to attract
Exactly.
more money there. Yeah.
And I
I'm-
think,
mm.
oh, go ahead.
I'm glad that you brought this up, just because what I've been doing most of this time in quarantine is research. And a lot of the stuff that we were researching before quarantine even happened was foreclosure homes and
Okay.
foreclosure like developments in the Buckeye Shaker Cleveland area, because a serious reason on why I'm interested in doing the wholesale real estate is to put money into the foreclosure properties in the Buckeye area and literally revitalize them, turn them into dope art galleries, dope artist homes, dope art lofts with an art gallery downstairs, like dope infrastructures that artists and entrepreneurs, community members can literally just have a space to go in. Either you live there, you do art, you create things, whatever you do. Education can be a part of the programming. We could figure it out, but it's literally so much space. Just if I'm talking about the Buckeye Strip alone in Cleveland, like it's just historical space.
You want to know what I like about your idea? And it's kind of like a similar idea that me and Stacy talked about before, but you're basically using real estate as the generator to bring programming, development, and other business ventures to that community. Now, let me ask
Exactly.
here, is that the community you grew up in?
Yes.
Now, see, and that's no, but like
Yes.
not everybody follows that same rule.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that I kind of learned about when I was reading a couple books. Oh, I meant to send you that book. I will.
Okay.
But it's kind of like when you first start looking at properties, look in your hometown neighborhood, not just your city, but like take it down closer, like to where you're from, because
Exactly.
you are familiar with where you grew
You're
up.
so familiar. Wow.
And
yeah.
you know what your community needs. And so why not find undervalued properties and invest in those? And yeah, you may be able to rent this out and whatnot, but you're able to, if you are thinking more long term or even broader, you're able to bring in in certain things that you see that are lacking there. And I think
Exactly.
that's another thing that I want to touch on as far as like real estate and kind of field this question to y'all. What are a few things that you've seen that your community needs from growing up now? What are some things that you see that maybe it kind of has gotten, or what do you think it needs more of? And how can you generate that via real estate?
Well, if I'm just speaking about the Buckeye Cleveland area, health, wellness, and media resources.
That's what's up.
Period. Like they need health, wellness, and media resources.
I literally
like,
was gonna say the same three.
like
I literally was gonna say the same three.
like that's what they need. They need health. There is no, like I just said, a food co-op. Like we literally need a food co-op. Just a simple, just a square little smoothie box
It ain't
spot.
gotta be
It ain't
big.
gotta be
It
much.
ain't
You
gotta
know,
be-
we could take the front end of the Riley's walk up. Real talk. But it's so many different structures that are already structured like they should be something that we don't need much. You just need businesses to fill it. And it's almost like they don't want you to know how much richness is in that community because it's literally right there. And if we understood the value that us as millennials have right now to just have education like right in front of our face, to just even learn about something like real estate, which probably would have took our parents like however long to just grasp the simple concept. Like we should be doing this like yesterday, like last year, like 10 years ago type stuff. But since the information be so withdrawn from us, we can't. Like, so it's like that's a real answer to the question, honestly, of what you just asked, because it's the lack of information. Like a lot of them people walking down Buckeye don't even realize that Riley's don't even need to really be a main thing. Like they just so used to it being the main thing, they think it's a stretch to even think about making a green smoothie. Like, and if we had an actual, like, I mean, it's a store like Simon's grocery store, but it ain't got like the best produce. So if we had some type of monopoly way where we could duplicate, I don't know, Whole Foods, or we ain't even gotta have a Whole Foods. We could have a black-owned Fresh Foods, whatever, like whatever we want to create. But if we could copy and paste the structure, because it's just about copy and pasting structures. So if we could copy and paste the structure and literally create, like I said, it ain't got to be that big, just a space where people can come in and just get fresh produce. It could be called the Fresh Produce Store. But just
Don't
the
go over
option.
people's heads. They need
Like,
to know
you
exactly where you about to
just
go. I'm about to go to
the
Fresh Produce.
Store. Like, just simple. Like, because that's what we need as black people. We just need simple products. Like, we don't need nothing crazy. Like, you go into Whole Foods right now, it's low-key a puzzle. Like, it's like, okay, dang, what I come in here for? Yeah. If you don't really know your health regimen, you don't know what to get. Like,
and I think it's different because we go into spots and it's not somebody that looks like us that's able to speak to us on some stuff that we don't know.
And you gotta go so far.
Exactly.
Man, right.
Bus.
Right. When we had Biz Marquee, y'all, listen, me and Tyler, we had to get Biz Marquee from, where did we get him from? The airport. And he wanted some kale chips from Whole Foods. We didn't realize that they were not nowhere else but Whole Foods until we spent probably like 30 minutes driving around Cleveland. But like, what? Why wasn't no kale chips nowhere? Like, nowhere. Like, from the airport, we probably were. I know we rode from the airport back down to Shaker Square, back down towards Chagrin over by Heinen's.
Entire Cleveland.
Just to go all the way back up towards Beechwood to get to the Whole Foods. When they didn't even have all of the chips in stock, they only had 3 of the flavor that he wanted.
Let us know that he want to get out the car every time to look for the chips.
And I guess, all right, so I have a question. For y'all. And I swear, after this, we can get right back to real estate. But one thing that I think has been genius about Jay-Z's career is that he makes the investment, and then through his media, basically his music, he builds the demand for that. So if you look at Armand de Brignac, he basically said, "No, we not drinking this Cristal's joint. We gonna go over to Ace of Spades and stuff." He builds the demand for Douce. Now, obviously, he uses his, for lack of a better phrase, his notoriety as his leverage. But I'm saying, as people who are not necessarily on such a national platform, how do we build demand for things in our community? Either right before or right after our investment.
Just do it the same way Jay-Z does it. You talk about it.
That I was just about to say local media, which is a part of the answer with the health, wellness, and media, because it's like literally gonna be on a community basis. We not Hollywood. We don't need to be Hollywood.
Yes.
We're Cleveland, Ohio.
Start a conversation.
Our media mass, we don't need to be on TV with it. We just need to be in the community
present,
so that people know. Oh, we're like Milwaukee Burst right now. You can't tell me that people in Cleveland don't know what Milwaukee Burst is. Everybody know what Milwaukee Burst is, and it's just word of mouth. They don't have crazy social media presence. They're not bombarding the social media. They are literally like, all right, you want a green smoothie, you want a good green smoothie, you're going to go to Milwaukee Burst. You want a nice variety of some vegan options, you probably going to hit up Milwaukee Burst. Like, it's just a thing. And he did that because he's a personable owner, and he knows how to get to the people. So when you know how to get to the people, they're going to flock. They're going to feel your genuine energy, and they're going to say, oh, this person is good for the people. Bet I'm rocking with that business.
And I think that's really dope when you look at brands like Beats by Dre, where it basically took the sneaker hype beast culture and basically that limited availability and put the same thing towards headphones and made it explode, where it's kind of like, hey, this is something that's sauce. This is something that's some swag here. Yeah, it's like a statement. It's basically like sneakers on your neck. And not only that, it has a utility. But I mean, that's basically what it was. It's like sneakers on your neck. They come in different colorways. They come in, you see what I'm saying?
Different chords.
And, and they can sell out of this specific one. But how do we implement that into different facets of culture? I know we said media, but how do we implement that that need in different facets of culture where we see the need that our community has, but they don't see it yet? How do we build up?
Part of media is talking about it, and part of media is also demonstrating it in the motion. You know what I mean? If you demonstrate the need for this, you demonstrate that you need this, and you demonstrate how others need this, and that it's a necessity. Similar to media and wellness, if you start taking care of yourself and you start getting involved in stuff and you show the benefits of it, and you're a pure example of it, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be, whether it may be events or something like that, or art events, or a gallery or a studio space, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? A safe place somewhere else that has been built for the people. If you go and use that, people are going to see the benefit, because there is inherent benefit there.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I feel like the more you use it, the more people get attracted because of the fact they see the benefit there. You know what I mean? And the thing is, the reason why people won't use it is because they have a fear about it. They don't know nothing about it.
They're not educated.
But the more you do that, the more you educate them through your experience and your demonstration.
And to add on that fear, when it's coming from a fear-based, all those type of people are looking for it is to be cool. So you got to make it cool. Not just for the fear people, for everybody. You got to make whatever we talking about cool. Yeah. Because black people like cool shit.
Yeah. And then how do you add? All right, so let's even take this here. How do you add some drip to the real estate game?
You get somebody.
You get Jada.
About to, you get somebody with clout.
Invest in real estate and show y'all how to flip a abandoned bando into an art studio. You get Jada to teach you how to literally research wholesale real estate to turn a local garage or a local lot into now a space where y'all can really do y'all traps. Y'all can really do y'all legal cookouts, do whatever y'all want to, but just y'all land that y'all own, so you can't get G-checked.
Yeah. So this is the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in this case, she is being the demonstration. You know what I mean? If you move forward, you need somebody with clout. Jay-Z was lucky enough that he had the clout to push his own stuff. You know what I mean? He was lucky enough to have that. You know what I mean? But in terms of trying to change a culture within your community, if you have clout in that community, whatever you do or say is going to be noticed. And if you show benefit, like you making money, you know what I mean? If you show that you're making obvious profit and you moving it forward and you making progress, what else do you expect people to do?
And I would add to that, because it's definitely clout, but it's also connections. I've been building these connections for a long time.
That's how you do
so
what you do.
Me doing what I'm even doing is new to me. The reason why I'm sitting next to Tyler is because he's more prone and savvy with it. You don't do none of the stuff that you want to do by yourself. You team up. You figure out, all right, I know this, but you know this better, bro. So what's up? Like, let's really go.
Fact.
Like, because I'm ready to go, but you can make us go. So what do I need to know? And then you finesse it and you build and then all right, so this is the plan. But you got to have clout and connections. And the reason why I even got into the nonprofit was because I literally knew, all right, these people are in certain connections in Cleveland that matter. They're in certain connections at Cleveland that literally build the infrastructure of what the city looks like. What we go outside and see every day, I work with the people who make that happen. Like all y'all festivals, all y'all happy events, all y'all art gallery structures, all y'all want the new Cleveland, y'all want to see what downtown will look like. I sit with the people who build those plans and literally talk about it. What's the future of Cleveland in the next 10 years? Oh, okay, we're gonna have a meeting in about 3 weeks and talk about the new Cleveland. That's a real thing. The new Cleveland is like coming. So we literally as millennials are at a super advantage to be like so close. It's like a golden era or something happening right now in Cleveland. Ohio, but like Cleveland is about to be lit.
It's like a revolution,
so it's like
yeah.
you gotta look at your city and start seeing like, all right, how can I be of benefit? Like, how can I really
How can I
like
play in all this?
how can I
Yeah.
play a role? Like, how can I play my part? And I literally have been looking at all of these different nonprofit people, all of these different elders, all these different areas, and I'm just like, okay, they need us. Like, they can't do it by themselves because they don't know. They literally don't have the answer. They need our generation to give them the answer. So
And let it be teamwork.
exactly. So I've been putting myself in these meetings and putting myself in their face so they could be like,
You look
Jada,
familiar. You're non-threatening.
you feel me?
You are non-threatening.
Like, so that I could go back to my homies in the real land and be like, yo, this what we got to do. Because this is what they want. They looking for this. We can't come looking like this. We got to come looking like this. And we got to come with a bag and with common sense, acting like we know what's up.
I think I want to pose this question to y'all because I think this is kind of important when it comes to real estate and community development. But I want to see y'all's opinion. How important do you think code switching is when it comes to being an impact in your community? And what are things, how do we benefit those in our community that you can see the nugget within them, but they not the type that's like a code switch, but you know what? But they know how to flip stuff. They know how to make stuff work. And how do you pull certain things out of certain people who lack here, but you know that they know this here?
I feel like the only way that you can get into the game, because the thing is, the reason why we talking about this right now is because our people are not in the game right now.
Facts.
We learning this from people who are not
in-
our people.
yep.
You know what I mean?
That's
So we
true.
gotta be able to code switch in the room. You was in the room with all them people in that hotel or whatever.
The investor
Right.
stuff.
A lot of them people was not our people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you in there, you gotta code switch to an extent in order to communicate. You know what I mean? You gotta know how to
Yeah.
communicate
Yeah,
properly
yeah,
and to get
definitely.
information, get your desires out there properly, and in order to take in information from them properly. You know what I mean? So you can go back and switch that, like Jada said, bring it back to the real land and let all your people know exactly what's going on. Educate them by code switching back again. You know what I mean? If you got people who
So-
can't code switch, is your responsibility. You know
You're
what
the
I mean? As
translator.
in order to get them to a position that they can actually benefit from without having to, or be able to teach them how to, or whatever in this moment. Be like, yo, in this situation, you gotta wear this, can't say that, you gotta be this way. You know what I mean? Like, just because, like, and explain it. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to explain it to a certain way so that they see the benefit. That's the one thing about people coming from the hood or whatever, coming from lower stances. They understand how to adjust themselves for money. You know what I mean? When they trying to make some money, they understand if there's a benefit, there's money coming from me doing this, I can work for that. I can go ahead and try and bite the bullet on that and make some money real quick. You know what I mean?
So, wow, I love that, Stacey. I'm a
that's
piggyback
real.
off of that. And I feel like I'm a piggyback off that and answer it with the answer that we are the code switch. As black people, we are the code switch. And it's literally because there has been no other time. I mean, I'm 27. Y'all, whatever age y'all are, we have not been on Earth longer than we have been on Earth right now. There's been no other time in our lifetime that we have been at an even playing field like this.
No.
Period. With knowledge. Fuck race. It's not about race. It's about knowledge. The
access.
knowledge level
Yeah.
and the access level that we have, black people are the code switch. We low-key like a virus in this thing. Like, we done came in here and shook up a lot. Like, we are the code switch, and we are literally bound to detonate at any moment. Like, and we got to know that. The moment that we don't know that we are the code switch, we going to start looking for the switch and the code outside of ourselves, which is what we've been doing this whole time. So we got to rephrase the thought process. We are the code switch. Whenever we want to switch, we turn this up. It's a whole nother game. When we all collectively realize that we are the switch, that's like a Trojan horse. Just think about that concept. Like, if black people realized that we were the Trojan horse in America, you know how lit we would be? if we all collectively realize at the same time, like, yo, y'all ready to hit the switch and turn this bitch up? We the kill switch. That's how I feel.
I feel you on that. And I think that being able to have a high level of coordination, and I think that's the only factor that's really like differentiating any type of progression from non-progression, is that, yeah, we all want the same thing. It's just that, you know, you got this personality type here, you got this mindset here, and it's not that we don't want to work together. It's just that we were not in a position where we were forced to have to work together in a while, and this is new to us. So because every time we were working together, the dominant race. Let's just put Black Wall Street as an example.
You know,
They
bombed
took
it.
they took it out.
Right.
So it's kind of like maybe we shouldn't work together or something like that, because this is what happens. This is a result of it. So we get further and further away from that cohesion. And I think we're in a situation now where, you know, a lot of people talking about like, man, it's too many people. Hey, we need to just work together. And I'm sitting here thinking like, yo, I think we genuinely all do want to work together. We've just been disconnected from it so long that we have to refigure it out.
Even like a Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, do they have the same goals?
Exactly.
Even they could not come to terms. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that we tend to forget about the African American culture. African Americans in particular, not necessarily Africans or Black culture, but African American culture.
Okay.
We are one of the most diverse culture systems in the world. You know what I mean? Right. There is a large spectrum going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's large spectrum of backgrounds, a large spectrum of the perspectives on the way the world works, as well as a large spectrum of access, you know what I mean, in terms of anything, in terms of goods, in terms of resources, in terms of education, anything, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things that comes with that, and miscommunication is one thing that comes with all that diversification. So with how diverse that our culture is, and everyone having their own piece, coming to a point of coming to one central agreed upon point, it seems like people can't seem to come to terms with it. You know what I mean? And it seems like people got their way, and then there's this way, but we can't come to the same term. That's one thing that I feel like it needs to come forward going forward. We have, like Jada said, we are at a level right now where we have a level of connection, a level of access, you know what I mean? A level of education, access to that education that has never been seen before in the history of mankind. You know what I mean? And in the history of our culture as well. You know what I mean? We have a chance here to actually level the playing field in terms of communication as well, and become aligned in our actual desires and in our methods as well. You know what I mean? I think the main thing is that we may have the same goal, but the methods in order to go forward, we can't seem to agree on that. There's pockets.
And it's crazy because it wrapped back around the real estate.
Come on.
We gotta build the infrastructure to teach the right things. To teach what we need to teach our people to progress properly in this lifetime, and to overcome this oppression for real. We can't do that.
The art house, you know,
we can't do that. To get deeper into it, since y'all dove deeper, I wasn't gonna dive that deep because I can dive deep.
Come on. Get into the deep end.
We gotta build our own. We gotta build our own schools, man. We gotta have our own factories, everything. And this is real estate. The mall is real estate. Somebody owned the mall. All the stores are paying rent to the owner of the mall to sell their stuff.
Yeah,
we are we dropping our kids off to get taught by people we don't even know what they do when they go home.
You buying your clothes from them. You know what I mean? This is a way to try and this is the value in bringing that back.
So it goes as deep as that.
Yeah,
Can I
it
ask you
does.
a question though?
Yeah.
All right, so you bring up a really interesting point when you're talking about malls, because let's be honest, we've seen malls close and close again, and only certain ones have kind of stood the test of time.
Definitely.
And those that stood the test of time have adapted. So that means the people who were in charge before were able to not necessarily even just let over the reins, but yeah, we're able to evolve. Yeah. So that means there's going to become a time where the real estate that we invested in, the concepts that we knew were valuable for right now, are not going to be the concepts that are valuable later. Right. How do we age and adapt with new and different concepts? Are we going to be open to those who are younger than us? Somebody who's 5 years old right now, how do we make sure that who we are right now doesn't become that closed-minded person later, so we're open to that person's concepts when they become of age?
I feel like the answer to that is irrelevant in terms of whether it's real estate or whatever topic you're talking about, because it comes with education. If you continue to stay educated going forward, you understand the trends, you understand what to expect, similar to what's going on right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're educating yourself in the moment right now. Y'all are getting a better understanding. I don't know what to expect in real estate going forward. Y'all
Right.
have better understanding what to expect in terms of the business, how the industry is going to evolve going forward with how the economy is changing right now. You know what I mean?
But
And,
I feel. Oh, my bad.
you fine, you fine.
But to answer that specifically, I feel like it would be to train the youth on the basics of how the economy works. Cause yeah, like the trends are gonna change. Like the trends is like, I don't know, like fashion
It's like-
technically
it's like a
is
year
a
or so.
trend.
Yep.
But like your standard T-shirt, your standard pants, your standard shoe, your
It's an
standard.
overarching
It's an
basic concept.
overarching basic concept of that. But I could turn this hoodie blue, black, purple, yellow. But I'm not gonna ever make it not have a hood attached with the thread. It's not gonna never have a zipper. It's never gonna not have this cuff along the line of this sleeve. So it's a basic structure for how it goes. So if we're gonna talk about the youth, we have to teach the basic structures of how the economy is ran. Real estate is number one basic structure of how the fucking world is run. Like
And within that, yup.
So since we know, okay, the kids that are gonna come after us are gonna be different, and those kids are gonna be different, but the structure is gonna be the same. So they're gonna have totally different ideas. They're gonna experience totally different things. But that structure is always gonna be a house. It's always gonna be a building. It's always gonna be a lot. It's always gonna be grass. It's always gonna be a factory. Y'all just gonna have to be artsy enough to figure out what y'all need in that generation to make it keep thriving, to make it keep going. We taught y'all the formula, keep multiplying it, because that's all they did, these white people. All they did was look at America's basic structure and say, yo, we here first. So we get to do it first, and we get to teach first, because we low-key stole it. We don't got to tell them that we stole it.
We white.
You feel me? That's our card. That's our, what you call it, the code switch?
Yeah.
That's their code switch. They've been using a code switch by law of them being their, like, come on, if we was in a different position and we were the oppressor, you don't think we would be using that code switch?
Oh yeah, we would.
To build a whole culture, to build a country? Like, the fuck? I know that's how they think. So we got to start thinking like that. And once you think like that, you got a country. You got countries on countries on countries, because how we think they got their country. They literally saw it just like that. And then they taught their families the basic structure. Didn't put no pressure. They just said the basic structure of how this family get money is doing this. So everybody in this bloodline gonna do this by default, period. I don't care what y'all do after, but y'all gonna do this. Y'all gonna start with this. I don't care how you finish. That's how we got to do it, though. Because we as black people, we don't have a basic structure of wealth, period. We don't have our basic structure of wealth cannot be 9 to 5s, because that's not ours. Our basic
structure.
structure
Time to make somebody else money.
Yeah, it's
Put
not
money
your
in somebody
money. Yeah,
else's
exactly.
pocket.
to help their basic structure. It's
Exactly.
never going to come back to us. So we have to create a structure.
I love that point, and I want to piggyback on that since that's the word of the day, piggyback. I think it's very important to understand the structure, and when we look at structures throughout the length of time, at least if you start from the 1600s, the acquisition of wealth was aided by keeping costs low. And I don't want to delve into the economic force that was, but when it comes to real estate and you're doing the flipping, or you're looking more long term, or maybe you have something to be a midterm investment that you plan to grow later, what are ways in real estate that you might be able to keep your costs low and give yourself a little bit more of a wedge there to take advantage of those undervalued properties, do something with it, but also not go broke as far as trying to get the most equity out of either your flip or when it comes to your long-term investment?
I think the first one would be partnership.
Okay.
Working with other people and finding other people money to use. If you
Definitely.
can get the numbers right and you get knowledge of learning how to say, you know, how to present a deal to somebody and say, you'll get this return on this investment. On this investment, I just need this much from you.
Right.
You'll get this much back in this much time. If the numbers make sense, the person you're dealing with, if you're dealing with the right person, they're going to invest with you.
Definitely.
So I would say that's the most important way. As far as personally, the other thing I would say is tweaking your lifestyle to where you living below your means, so you can kind of play with your money a certain kind of way. You can have your money and don't be like, well, I gotta cover this, and that. And if you living below your means and you only got one bill, you can maybe skip or something like that. You might be able to finagle some things like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's not much more for me. I can tell you.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Being partnerships and being frugal. I feel like
Yeah.
that's smart. And honestly, I was talking to you about this that one day. When looking at the people that are looking into financial independence, the most common thing that I find across
And
people that
also,
reach financial.
I'm sorry,
You're fine.
having credit as well.
Yeah.
Having credit.
I almost feel like that comes with it almost. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you're
Right.
paying on your stuff and everything's cool, you living below your means and your stuff is taken care of, you almost accumulate credit. You know what I mean? In the process.
Even though we mentioned doing wholesale, specifically real estate, you don't need good credit, but that don't mean don't develop
Yeah.
good
Right.
credit.
Get
That's
credit.
the credit is your
Yeah.
name. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
so-
gotta make sure your name is in good standing. But I feel like the most common thing I find across people that do reach financial independence at an early age is they live well below their means. You know what I mean? They learn to
Right.
be incredibly frugal. And then they learn who to talk to. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you said, like the one way to get involved was mentorships and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And make sure your money's straight. And I feel like if you're gonna be a first generation millionaire, those are the first two things you gotta know to do.
Yes.
You know?
You can't be scared to talk to people, and you can't be scared to like admit that you don't know something.
Yeah.
Because like nobody knows everything, and if you are a person that's like, yo, I do want to get into real estate, but I don't know anything. That's why we have the internet.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Is that it for y'all? Y'all got anything else to touch on at all? Anything you wanted to hammer out before we call it a night?
I don't feel like anything specific, but I do want everybody to understand the importance of this switch that's about to happen with the economy.
Yeah.
Like, I do want everybody to understand, like, this is like a different world that we're about to go back into.
People mention normal, and I feel like that's not even a real. It's not a good way to really describe what we're gonna be going back to. It's not really a new normal necessarily. It's because it's gonna be adjusting over the course of time. Like
Right.
we won't find a pure normal probably for a while, probably for maybe
Yeah.
a year, 2 years, or something like
Definitely.
that, because there'll be such an adjustment period across the board and things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I guess when we talk about this, the jobs are going to change. You know what I mean? The job structure is
Right.
going to change and everything. So you can expect to be different. You know what I mean? They may be opening
Exactly.
things back up soon, but all this is far from over. So
Yeah.
And
And I
doesn't-
think it's
that don't mean we're gonna fail. Like,
Right.
stay optimistic, but it's
Yeah.
just be realistic, if anything.
Exactly, because I honestly feel like everything, just like on a brighter note, is happening because it's kind of opening up opportunities for millennials to make these entrepreneurship switches in like the economy. Because like if the economy is not about to sustain the same way that it was sustaining, then it just created like an equilibrium balance for us as creatives. If creatives, in terms of like hardcore artists who are like
Yeah.
entrepreneurs all day who just do what we do, like yo social media influencer to like yo social media management person, like they probably wasn't even going to the actual office. So now it's allowing time for other people to like create different structures and get that same salary play or like that same number
more.
look or more and literally create economies.
Find a new market, you know,
And
this
find
is
a new
creating
market.
markets. And that's
Exactly.
Because certain markets, this is what I'm talking about. When you mention job structure changing, in my mind, I see a lot of jobs being fizzled out and them not being necessarily even applicable anymore for
Exactly.
someone to actually do because of the risk or whatever, you know, because of the way things are seen going forward. Or the way this hold off has caused, you know what I mean? Because this has eliminated
Exactly.
some markets in some cases just because of the fact that we've been still for so long, you know.
Yep.
But I think that's fair. You know, I think that's fair for someone to actually take into consideration going forward for yourself. You know, if you want to reach financial freedom or financial
Right.
independence for yourself, this is life. You know, this is you got to expect the ebbs and flows of the market and be able to adjust with it, or else you won't reach that. So, you know,
Yeah. That's my last 2 cents.
that's real. Savage. What you, Tyler?
No, I think we touched on everything. We was getting a little deep. We might, have to double back or something.
Yeah, definitely.
We might have to extend this conversation or something. But no, I think we covered it enough as far as the general discussion of it for today.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Oh, you should give them some information on where they could listen to some stuff about
What's some
wholesale real
resources?
estate.
What's some resources for the
Okay,
people? Maybe
so-
on YouTube channels or books or something like that, or people.
My favorite one, a lot of people know about it when they get into it, is Bigger Pockets, that community. Yup. The YouTube, the app. Get involved on it though. So when you get into it, you learn that you can communicate with people on there. So you get on there, you learn what your niche is and how you want to get involved. You ask people questions and just get knowledge like that. Figure out about the RIA meetings. Go to the RIA meetings. Just sit in and listen to the lingo.
Yeah.
And figure out what they talking about. A lot of stuff I ain't know what they was talking about. I never heard these words before, and then I go look it up. That's what you got to do. So
That's facts.
yeah. Favorite author, Robert Kiyosaki. Read all his books. He write in a way where you can comprehend pretty well. If you like to read, he got a lot of good literature on that. And yep, that's what I got to say.
That's a wave.
Yep.
That's what's up. I just want to thank everybody for listening. Appreciate Jada, Tyler, and Will for joining me today. This was awesome. This was a good
Yay.
conversation, y'all. Y'all definitely got
Yes.
some facts. Y'all always you dropping some stuff, dropping the real value in real estate and how you can affect your people with it. I feel like that's the main thing I want to focus on.
Let's end it with saying that. That's the real important.
That's the main thing I want
about
to focus
this
on.
conversation. Though this is about how we can help each other.
Yeah,
moving forward
I mean, and even in
put
this,
ourselves
we
in a better
demonstrated
position.
that simply, and that just in Jada's her example of buying an art house and having art galleries in the lofts and providing residents and promoting that culture within the community where it's needed. That's how you communicate to the people. That's how you show the benefit. That's how you show the importance of having this stuff in around. Even though it's not there now, that's how you show that you need it. So, yeah. Until next time. Chew.